What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'll give you guys a very quick update and warning about the market and the data that's coming out. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeb link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeb and deposit $500, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them, and the offer ends very soon in just about a few weeks. Anyways, for the market, I just want to call out something very important. We're seeing some stocks kind of like showing some declines during the pre-market, but for now, the market's holding some key supports. So the question is what's going to affect it. And at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's 30 minutes after the market opens, we have the JOLTS job openings reports coming out, the job quits, and some very important economic optimism reports coming out. So all this data is going to likely cause some volatility. So we will see if the JOLTS data causes a big pump or a dump in the markets. We just have to wait and see. We're expecting about 8.34 to 8.4, like somewhere between there. That range over there, that's how many, 8.34 to 8.4 million job openings in total. That's the range we're going to be looking for. And we'll have to see how things end up going with that. So that's very important data. For job quits, we're expecting 3.2 million. So we'll just have to wait and see what the jobs numbers look like and how the market responds. But I do want to note that the market is looking like it's getting a little tighter, in my opinion, based off different factors. But ultimately, I still see upside for other stocks out there later on during the month. So that's going to be something else that's worth noting. For data involving the markets, we've had our ups and downs, some glitches here and there with like Berkshire Hathaway yesterday and a bunch of other things that were going on. For Paramount Plus, they're actually looking at new agreements to be made with TV studio Skydance. Google's laying off more employees. That's something else that's worth noting. And then we're getting very close to some other events. There's been a lot of hype involving GME, GameStop, but right now GameStop is approaching some key support. Not looking that strong in my personal opinion. So that's something I just wanted to note. For stocks like Tesla, we just got our Chinese sales. The Chinese sales are basically up month over month for April, but they're also very weak looking compared to the previous year. So basically, that's all we're seeing, at least for the time being, at least in terms of their sales look. That's something that's worth noting. We did about 72,000 sales in May. Once again, a 16% increase month over month, but a big decrease compared to what we saw last year. So it is what it is, guys. We just have to continue moving forward. Let's talk about the stocks real quick before I upload this video. So for Tesla, we have this support right here between this 173 to 174 area, somewhere around here. We love to kind of bounce off the 173 zone. You guys can see it's happened many times. And right now we're barely in the 174, so Tesla's just barely at support. If we lose this support, Tesla could be dipping all the way down to fill this gap at 168. So I'll be watching to see if that happens, as we technically have a head and shoulders like structure. If we bounce off this again, make sure you watch resistance at 176.6, followed by 178 and 180. But overall, I am seeing a little bit of weakness on Tesla stock. So we could actually get a little close to 173 to 174. And we'll see if Tesla declines or not. We've been range bound for quite a while, but when you zoom out, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure that's still developing. So even if we do get a little dip, we could still see a big bounce later on. But for now, just know there's a little weakness on the chart. For SPY, we're just getting tighter in my personal opinion. As you guys can see, it's been just getting lots of sideways price action since the morning. And if you kind of zoom out like this, I could actually kind of redraw this. I'm going to close this trend line, actually kind of zoom in just a bit on SPY. Let me just note that we have a very interesting structure for the last couple of days. This is what SPY is kind of looking like as we're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So if we take a trend line like this and we kind of like draw this out, you guys can see we're just getting very tight right now. This is all SPY is really doing. So I think we're going to likely respect this for some time once all the JOLTS job numbers come out. And I think the SPY is just going to trade very sideways for now. And then we're going to get a big break once the jobs numbers come out, because it's kind of aligns with when the job release is. So I think that what's going to happen is when we open, SPY will pump, dump a little bit, just trade sideways. Then we're going to get a big move once this data comes out. That's going to be the JOLTS job openings. We'll see if this causes a big pump. If we do pump and break past 527.5, we're going to be looking at a big pump all the way up closer to 529 plus. If we end up rejecting and losing 525, there's going to be a big decline coming towards 523. So I'm seeing a tight range right over here, and we'll have to see how things go from here moving forward. For Nvidia is on a very nice uptrend so far. It's showing some strength. I see potential for this to retest the all-time high towards 1160 and eventually go up to 1180. So to me, Nvidia is looking relatively strong. It looks pretty good, especially on the 4-hour time frame as well. not bad, at least for the stock thus far. And I do see some more upside potential for the QQQ. There is upside potential. This looks very bullish on the 4 hour time frame. My guts tells me it's going to consolidate for a bit between 453 and 452, but then later on I do see a pump coming to 455 plus, so it looks pretty bullish right over here. I do anticipate some upside later on. Oh, and by the way, for SPY, regardless of what happens to SPY for the short term, even if we do get a little decline short term, it doesn't matter. For the medium term, as we approach the later months of June, I do see a big pump coming to new all-time highs. I do believe it's going to happen to SPY anyways. So I just wanted to make that clear. Short term, yes, anything can happen with the JOLTS numbers, but later on for the month, I do see upside. For Aapl, it's the same thing. We could decline just a little bit on Aapl retest, 193.5, but then I see a pump to 195 coming, eventually these higher levels later on. For a few more, we also have Amazon, which is kind of range bound right now. If we break past 178.8, if we break that resistance, look for 180. And if we break that, we're going to be pushing higher. If we fail to break 178.8, then we'll have to see some sideways price action. For Coinbase, if we break past 232, we're bullish. If we lose 228, we're bearish. We're kind of stuck in the middle. So watch and see what the move is. For just a few more, GameStop kind of declining. If we lose 25.6, we're going to be falling to fill this gap at 23. So we'll see if we lose that or not. If we do bounce off that, then everything else could change. For AMC, if we lose 4.6, we're going to be tipping down to fill this gap. If we hold this, we're going to be bouncing, so we'll have to give this the time it needs. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. And actually, let me just go over a couple more things before I conclude the video. Just another 1 minute. For Google, we could be looking for 174.76. If we do break that, we're going to be looking for a big push for 178. If not, we're just going to continue to trade sideways. And the last thing is the VIX. So one thing worth noting about the VIX is that we're kind of in a phase where it's starting to trade sideways, because you guys can see near this 50 EMA over here, it's trying to get bought back up and kind of defending. So the VIX is shuffling between these key levels. So here's what I think is going to happen. We might continue to shuffle. So our support on the VIX is at 13.5, and then we have resistance at 14. I think it could continue to shuffle for a bit because the market may also shuffle. But later on, there's a big gap to fill down here, all the way down to the 12 area. So I think it might shuffle, and later on, we're going to see a big decline in the VIX because the market's going to pump higher. That's what I think is going to happen later on. Okay, so right now, we're just waiting for the data. There's going to be a move coming to the markets, but ultimately, we're going to see a bigger move. So if there's a big dip, that's a buying opportunity, like I've been saying in my previous videos. And that's the way I kind of see the market for now. All right, guys, that's it for real now. I'll see you guys very soon in just a couple of hours. Market opens very soon, so get ready for some high volatility and watch and see what happens at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for listening, guys, and peace out.